1970, we sure we did the forefront. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Call, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Uniben Alumni Series. I'm your host, Kevin Omokaro. As you know, this is a show where we celebrate alumni of the University of Benin. We listen to their journey, and we hope that their journeys, their stories will inspire current students, not just current students, and also alumni as well. And on today's episode, we have a man of different progressive endeavors. He's a political analyst, he's a media practitioner, he's the general manager of ZATCO Nigeria Limited. ZATCO, I hope I got that correctly. Is Idris Zekeri Jr. Thank you very much, Mr. Idris, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kevin Omokaro, Kaka, like we call you. The last time we met in person was it was in our small place where we eat rice and beef in the S&T corner here.
That's true.
That's a long time ago now, but it's good to meet you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Good to have you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. Mr. Zekeri, you studied industrial mathematics. That is not a course that an average applicant, especially within our own age bracket, will want to venture in at the university level. Quite a tough course. But was that actually your first choice, or Uniben gave you industrial mathematics?
It wasn't, and there's a backstory to it. When I left secondary school, I went to the north. I left Edo State. I went to IC in Auchi. There's IC in Benin. There's another IC in Auchi. So I left. When I finished secondary school, I left to Abuja and Jos. I rotated between Abuja and Jos, and I wanted to go to University of Jos to study geology. That was my initial course of choice. I didn't quite get it. 27, 28, 29, I came to Benin, and then I wrote Jamba, and then I put again geology. And Uniben gave me geography and regional planning.
Okay.
Yes. So, but as God will have it, I was very meticulous in picking my course of study. I knew that geology didn't need geography, because I didn't have geography in WAEC. I didn't even write it. So I know geology don't need geography. So when they gave me geography and regional planning, it became impossible to clear because I would need geography.
Yes.
So I spent time doing, if you know what they call relocation at, of course you know what's called relocation at the auditorium during clearance. I relocated from mathematics. I relocated from geology. They took me to sociology. Geography and regional planning, rather. They took me to sociology and anthropology. I was not able to. I can't remember what the problem was then. From there, I moved to I think religion, faculty of arts. Yes. I didn't have the credentials to clear in art because my WAEC had both courses for social sciences and courses for
sciences.
Pure science. So I wrote physics, chemistry, I wrote commerce, I wrote economics. So eventually I wound up in in industrial mathematics. When I got there, I first cried. I didn't quite know what I was going to do. The course I hated the most in my undergraduate, as a matter of fact, in my secondary school, as a matter of fact, I didn't even do industrial mathematics at all. In my secondary school, it was only pure mathematics I did. But pure mathematics is basic compared to university mathematics. University mathematics, the basics of it is further mathematics. So I found myself there. I cried. I did cry. I called my mom. So God bless her. So she's no longer with us. And she encouraged me and said, "You just have to go. Go. Are people not there? Human beings are there. You wanted to enter university for 4 years now. Now you have it. Go ahead and do it." And then I got into school and I studied industrial mathematics. It was quite challenging in the beginning, but when you get in there and you will meet people like you who have been through who have had their own baptism of fire like you, and then encouragement will come from there. And this is where my best friend in the university, and even up till now, Omogbo Eguntaiwo comes in, a fantastic gentleman, is married now with his family in the UK. He also had similar problems like me. We didn't both plan to read mathematics. So when we met there, we united. We became friends, and then we grew from there, and then we encouraged ourselves. And to God be the glory. About 150 of us were admitted in 100 level. I think 10 of us graduated after 4 years.
Whoa.
Yes, after the 4 years.
That's so encouraging.
Some had extra years, some had extra 2 years, some relocated from mathematics to biz admin, some relocated from mathematics elsewhere. At the end of the day, the about 150 of us that started, it was, if my figures are correct, it's around that, maybe 10 that left after that first 4 years. The others came subsequently, but after that first 4 years. So that's my story.
Quite interesting. Did you apply for JAM? Because as some people do, when they're being offered courses they are not, and that were not their preferred choice, maybe in the 100 level they apply for the right JAM again, try to switch. Did that cross your mind?
No,
I understand that you've tried to get admission before then several times. So did you try to do that?
I must remark I didn't. As soon as I got into 100 level, before I even got into school, after I wrote my JAMB, the last JAMB I wrote before the one that got me into Uniben. I told you I stayed in the north. I had come back to Benin. My father was here in Benin. And when I wrote that JAMB and I didn't get admission, I scored 230 in that JAMB and I didn't get admission. My father told me that, you see, the next JAMB you will write will be your last. If you write that JAMB,
they're giving the mandate already.
Yes, the man, and this was no fault of mine anyway.
Yeah.
The man was very polite, but he was also very blunt and abrupt. He would just give it to you, then you go and figure it out yourself. He told me that this JAMB you are writing, this next one you will write will be your last. If you don't get admission with this one, so you will come back and tell me the work you want to learn so that I can register you. Long story short, thank God that was the last JAMB I had to write. And then when I was in school, I didn't bother transferring. I didn't bother writing JAMB again to try to switch. I just felt destiny. There's, like they say, destiny is in everything. And I just felt I was meant to be a mathematician. I began to enjoy it. I began to learn. I worked a lot harder than I should. I had a clear vision of what I wanted to come and do in school. And that was campus politics, activism, using it as a platform. I like leadership. I like impact. That has been my dream. So I was not in school to probably get the certificate would be a benefit. I was one of those who was willing to risk my certificate to offend the system. I didn't quite care as at that time. But as God will have it, it became mathematics. It meant I needed to read a lot more. I needed to spend a lot more time outside my bed at night. I learned how to do night class. Up to this time, I find it very difficult to sleep at night because it has become part of me to just be awake most part of the night. You can't sleep because of the kind of course and what it required of you as at then. But to God be the glory. We did it after. I think the biggest achievement is that I graduated after 4 years. It was a miracle to me. I didn't even think I'll graduate after 4 years. It was that tough.
Okay. You mentioned your involvement in student politics. You're actively involved. Student leadership during your time. What leadership lessons? I think at one time you were director of sports for your department.
True.
You're a big stakeholder when it comes to the student union elections and all that. What leadership lessons did you learn, and how has this impacted your professional journey?
One thing I think I took away from Uniben was that I learned to stay true to myself and stay true to the person I am. One thing I see in student unionism, and I noticed it even during our time, was that people tend to bend like the wind, like a tree in the wind. Depending on what is coming, they just bend with it. And I think it explains why you see defection upon defection when politics will favor people in a particular, even in secular politics. And I learned this lesson. There was an incident, like you rightly pointed out, in 100 level, where you are not supposed to hold any position. My department didn't have a director of sports, so I became director of sports in mathematics department. In 200 level, I went to the faculty parliament as a member of parliament. In 300 level, I became speaker of faculty parliament. Whereas then you have to be a final year student to either be governor or president or speaker or SUG president or SUG speaker, as the case may be. But in 300 level, as a penultimate student, I became speaker. And something happened in that year. I had, like I told you, I had designed my life in school. I said, okay, 100 level department, 200 level, 300 level faculty, so that I cut my teeth. 400 level SUG. And I did apply. And then I'll tie this to what I tell you about resilient and being true to yourself. I applied for SUG. I applied to go to the SUG in 300 level, going to 400 level, so that I'll conclude my journey there in the SUG. And it's important I mention this because I've never had this. This will be the first time I'm mentioning this publicly. Then we had a student who was also very influential in the student circle, that was close to management. And then the school was pro PDP. We must say this because we are now adults, we are grown. Yes, that was the Jonathan era. The school was pro PDP, and I was anti PDP, core anti PDP, core anti establishment. I didn't like the federal government. I thought they were wrong. I thought everything they were doing was bad. And as a young person, sometimes we were over emotional, overzealous about it, but it was what it is. And then I was anti-school and pro. Then the state government was Adam Shomoli's government, so we were pro ACN or pro government, state government, anti-federal government. And if you're anti-federal government in Uniben, and I don't know if it's still so now, you are you are considered an enemy of the state. So when I applied to go to the SUG, a student who was also a student then, he probably will see this video. So maybe he didn't know I know. Maybe when he sees this video, we'll find time to reconcile because I still bear grudges. A student then said that this guy is a pro Shomole, is against the school. We cannot clear him. And they did not clear me for SUG. But that was not the news. The news was that because people knew the kind of person I was, I could be very electric sometimes. They said, okay, since we didn't clear him, let's also intimidate him so that I keep quiet. And within where that meeting was holding, I didn't bribe anybody. Somebody there volunteered the information to me, and I already knew that I was not going to be cleared at least a day before the final clearance. I said, okay, no problem. If I was not going to be cleared, no problem. But I was sick. I was in the Uniben Health Center, and I was there for a couple of days, and then before I got out, there was a letter in my department inviting me to security. Kaka, when we were in school, hearing about security is like maybe DSS.
It's something you never pray for your roommates.
You don't pray for it. Yes, you don't pray for your enemy. Security wanted to see me. I said, okay. My HOD, who now became somebody I respect a lot and is a friend, Professor, I can't remember his name now. Professor, former dean of the faculty. Maybe before the end of this conversation, I'll remember his name. Professor Senwekai. Then was HOD. They put my name on the notice board. You know how that can affect you mentally. When your friends will say, we saw your name. I didn't know. I hardly read notice board. They came to tell me, your name is on the notice board that they are requesting you to come to the
Not for good reasons.
I didn't know what I had done wrong. I said, okay. I had taken my disqualification in good faith. The faculty wanted me to return as speaker in the faculty. I said, okay. I was still trying to decide, do I remain in the faculty? Do I just go back and just do my final year without politics? I said, okay. So I went to the security, and then the director of intelligence told me that they have it on good authority that I had planned to burn down the school because I was disqualified from SUG. I said, okay, that's a good point, sir. The question I asked him was, when did I plan to burn down the school? So he gave me a date, and that I had a meeting on so day with with people, unspecified, and then that I planned to burn down the school. The God that saved me, and I think that was why I was able to graduate from Uniben, is that on that day I was supposed to be planning to burn Uniben, I was in the University of Benin Health Center sick with malaria, and the records were there in the health center. Imagine I had even gone to a private hospital, so I probably would not be able to defend myself. So I told him, I said, on that day you are talking about, sir, respectfully, I was in the University of Benin Health Center. So you can go there, you are intelligence. So intelligence, go there. And I became very arrogant because I knew I was in the right. I said, you can go there and find out. Long story short, the man now turned the accusation to advice. So they now started advising me on why I should not make trouble and all of that. And then we had that gentleman conversation, and I went back. So I think that was one incident that shaped my worldview, that you must consistently believe in whatever you believe in. I am one person who was, when APC were in opposition, I was pro APC. When APC now got to power, I became anti APC. So I mean, it's strange to see somebody decamping or leaving a political party that is in power. It's always normal for you to see people leave a party that is
Maybe it's the
out of power.
activist in you. Maybe it's the activist in you. Yes, you mentioned about staying true to yourself. One of the lessons you took from student politics, Uniben politics. Let's talk generally now from Uniben. What did you learn from Uniben? What are those things? So I've had guests who's I personally, I think one of the things I took, one of the most important things I took from the institution is friendship. The army of friends I have. Uniben has positioned a lot of people at every strategic positions in my life that when I need something, I have a Uniben alumni or a Uniben person there that I reach out to, and there's ease to do these things. For you, what are those things you took from the institution?
I think basically more than anything else is exposure. I was born in Auchi, did my primary school in Auchi, did my secondary school in Auchi. Then I left to the north. It was not quite different from where I was growing up. And then when I came to Uniben, going to Uniben then was like a leap forward. Auchi Polytechnic is by my window, literally by my window. From my family out to the Polytechnic is 5 minutes trekking distance. You can stand in my room and be seeing the Polytechnic gates. So most people always go there. Once we all leave secondary school, we all go there.
Yeah.
But I was determined not because it was a bad school, due respect to that school, but I felt it was too close. I needed to go a bit out of the box. And because of our nature, the nature of the Auchi people as a whole, we gravitate towards northern Nigeria. So few of us are the ones who gravitate southward. We always gravitate through Kogi to Abuja and upward. Few of us gravitate towards this side. Maybe since the time Oshomole became governor till now, people now know that Benin is our capital. We didn't quite, we didn't know. We only knew that yes, we are part of a state that has a capital somewhere.
Yeah.
But when we now had somebody, I think this again answers the question of why people need, like we have the Asian people in government today. Each ethnicity needs to be represented in government so that people have that sense of belonging.
Yeah.
But beyond the exposure and the platform, Uniben also gave me very, very good friends, excellent friends. During my time as speaker, we produced the first SUG president from the Faculty of Physical Sciences. He's now in the US military, probably knowing more than I do. Osifu Sase. And a number of politically, we were not the best of friends, but we are much grown now, and we are very good friends. Then we weren't the best of friends then. And a number of other persons, my good friend Taiwo Moyegun, standard, strong guy, excellent guy, he now lives, like I told you earlier, in the UK with his family, and a number of other, including yourself, Kaka, Baye, and those other gentlemen that I met in school. I also met wonderful people, lecturers that are now my friends, even beyond school, that are now my friends today. And that gave me the guts. That gave me, I believe that you could do anything. I believe you can be strong. You can be anything. You can basically be anything, and nothing is stopping you. Uniben gave me that kind of belief. I can tell you for a fact today that I can stand anywhere in the world. I can stand in any university in the world. I can stand toe to toe with anybody in the world and represent. And I just, it naturally flows because of where I was. And nobody taught me to speak English and be courageous in Uniben. If anything, I was not supposed to speak English. I was studying mathematics. But somehow we managed to, learn what we needed to learn, associate, grow, and that is what has been propelling us till today. So Uniben has been, to me, the biggest blessing, the single biggest blessing I have had to, I've had in my life. Some of the persons that have helped me, like you said, some of the jobs I've had, some of the, when I finished school, I was not the best. I was not in the best of financial positions. I left service. I became a cab driver. Due respect to anybody who drives cab, that is where I started for years: 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. And then I was still strong. I was still going on TV and talking. No, I'm a cab driver. But that gave me another kind of knowledge. I now had knowledge of the ground. I now know how people behave on the lower scale of the ladder. So when I speak based on what is happening on the ground. Whereas those who are higher up, they speak based on what they feel, based on what they think, based on their intention or their thinking. I had empirical evidence. So it didn't allow me shake, it didn't allow me falter. And if I have the opportunity again, like I used to say, my children will do first degree in this country. And thank God that the security situation has vastly improved. Uniben will be a first choice. If I must also let me, so that I don't go and involve myself. Standards have changed from our time till now. So if the standards were the same or even better, I would want my kids to go to Uniben at least for first degree. You now want to go do masters, you can go abroad, you can go anywhere, but at least for a start, because of the kind of love and the kind of exposure it gave me. I know people have different stories. I also have my tale of woes. I lived in a Ekosodin for the most part. Yes, we endured insecurity. We endured very strange things happening, but all those help to shape your psychic. When I have, like I tell people, I have a heightened sense of security anywhere I go because of where I stayed. If I enter a room, I'm able to assess the room and know where possible threats can come from. Yes. In my area, if I stay for a month in a place, I can tell you where the bad boys possibly live and where they can come from. That is learned. Nobody teaches you that anyway. You learn that from experience. So those are part of the experience that Uniben gave me, for which I am very, very grateful. And I must add this word: God bless the soul of the vice chancellor during my time in school, Professor Uji Oshodin. Wonderful guy who did a lot for our institution. The ones that came before him, those who met them with George. The ones that came after him, those who met them with George. The one I know is Uji Oshodin, and he did a great job. May God bless his soul.
Amen. You have had a remarkable journey in politics, student politics, even secular politics. You have served in various media roles across different campaigns. You are there for the Obaseki 2020 in Edo State. Yes, for the 2020 election in Edo State. You are with the Obidati in 2023. You are with Olumide Akpata in 2024 in Edo State. What drives your passion for politics and public affairs generally?
The first question I ask myself is, what is best for the people at this time? In 2020, I was not with Obaseki. I was with Usagi Zeyam of
Yes, sorry, you were with the
APC.
APC. Yeah.
The question I asked myself, and people will debate this, and I like the debate to happen. I even want it to happen in your comment section. Let people debate. I like to debate. Let's debate the issues. We supported Obaseki before 2020 when Adam Shumole was leaving. In 2020, some of us, I felt that he had not measured up to his mandate, and he had not treated fairly all those who supported him prior. And then I decided not to support him. I joined Usagi Zeyamo in APC. As soon as that election was done, we lost that election. There's no shame in saying you lost. That's politics for you. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The next election was the presidential election. Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now we have had 8 years of Buhari. It makes sense that power naturally should go back to the south. I am not an ethnic jingoist. I'm not a tribalist, but we saw the body language of some individuals who now felt that the country starts and ends with them, and that's incorrect. If you really want, for people like me, people of my school of thought, if you really want to test people like me, tell us that we cannot do anything and oppress us, then we'll show you we can do something. So we knew that power must go to the south. That was an established ground rule already for some of us. And then in the south, we had two candidates, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Peter Obi, who at this time was speaking and who had the answers to the questions that Nigeria was asking of us then. I still insist up till this moment that it was Peter Obi. And then I joined voluntarily on my own dime. I joined to serve in the media campaign of Peter Obi. I went on radio, I went on TV, I went everywhere supporting Peter Obi to emerge as president. I still believe we won that election. There were miracles in Rivers State. There was massive voter suppression in Akwa Ibom, in Delta, and even in Lagos. That is a story for another day. Now, in the governorship election that just passed in Edo, 2024 Edo governorship election, we had it up to here, and I believe Edo people have had it up to here with the Obaseki administration. And this time around, he was bringing his friend. So some of us, he made a remark in a newspaper publication some time ago that whenever he becomes a godfather, that we should fight him. We believed him. I agreed with him, and that was the time to fight him. So I decided that first of all, anything that comes from the Obaseki angle, I will not be part of it. So that left us with two candidates, the APC candidate and the Labour Party candidate. The APC candidate, I had met him personally, fantastic gentleman. In fact, I think he's too good for the office of governor, because when you are too good, people ride you roughshod. And that's part of what we are seeing in Edo State today. I met him, I thought he was a gentleman, a calm guy, fantastic guy. And then APC at the federal, we're already suffocating Nigerians. Dollar had gone to 1,000 plus, fuel had gone to 1,000 plus. Things were skyrocketing. Things were going out of proportion. It will be improper to reward APC at the federal with a governorship seat because of the evil they done to us. In spite of the fact that the man who they have brought was a gentleman. So I said APC no. So that left me with again Labour Party. And in Labour Party, we had the former NBA president, intelligent guy, Olumide Osaigbovo Akpata, a lively person, a man who had a clear knowledge of what he wanted to do as governor, who was young, and we knew. And his deputy even was, to me, more as impressive as the principal. That was a senior advocate, a prince from Auchi. So it was a balance. So I said, okay, I'd rather work here. And that's precisely what I did. I was privileged to be appointed as chairman media team of the Labour Party Governorship Campaign Council. And so when you hear who's your guy now, Olumide Akpata, and all those other things we did, and we did our best. Unfortunately, the election, I would not say we lost. The election was heavily influenced by funds. It was a bidding war, and we could not meet up with the bidding war. So we acknowledged that we were bidded out of the market, and we took it in good faith. And you see, we didn't quarrel, we didn't go to court, we didn't slap anybody. So that is that's what Nigerians must learn now. Let the process run, and when the process does not favor you, accept it in good faith.
I want to draw your attention to the Olumide. Obaseki is from the Edo South. Olumide was is from Edo South as well.
True.
Yes, and you still went ahead to support him. Didn't you think that contradicted your
My earlier
principle?
stance.
Yes, especially when it came to the presidential in 2023.
Okay, so nothing is cast on stone, right? I believe that, like I said, the first person I supported, I think I need to go back a bit now. Before the primaries, pre-primaries, the person I had gone to meet in his office to beg to run for governor was an Eastern man from Wohimi, from Ewat. He said, when Ewat to one of the two, Reverend Father Andrew Binya, very Reverend Father Andrew Binya. I had gone to his office, and there are records to show that
Mhm.
we had gone to beg him
Yeah, I
to
think I
run
think I
for.
saw one of the clip.
Yes.
Was it on IT?
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, I
yes.
can
So
remember.
with my friends, with some of our friends abroad, we say we would like a man with his character and his zeal for development to come run as governor. Unfortunately, he declined. He didn't run for governor. So that left us with three individuals. Like I rightly pointed out, I'm one of those who wants inclusive leadership because I happen to have come from the part of it that were excluded for a long time. And my community in particular, when they say ouch, everybody think the 6 local government in Edo North is ouch. Ouch is one place in one local government in Edo North. It's not the whole Edo North that is ouch. My own community, which is ouch, which is the headquarters, has been even local government chairman we hardly get. So I know what it means to be on the wrong side of leadership. But that's not the point here. The point was that now we had an Obaseki's candidate, and we saw what was happening to the palace through him. We are all aborigines of the Benins. My Uchi, who is the founder of Auchi, is from Udo. Yes, the Auchi is actually Ivi Ivi is children. I don't know how you call it in Benin, but Ivi is children of Uchi. And Uchi is a bastardization of the word Usi. Usiosefe. Usi.
Yeah.
So that is the man who went there to. We are all aborigines of the Benin kingdom. No doubt about that. And then we saw what was happening to the palace. I personally went to protest on more than one occasion where Eniges were trying to, where the government then were trying to elevate the Eniges to displace the royal monarchy that we are so proud of as Edo people. And then several other things that were happening. So the Obaseki angle was not even part of the consideration. Now that left us with only Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party, who is a Benin man, and the APC guy, Senator Monday Ukpebulu. Fantastic gentleman, like I said, not as outspoken as me and you, but you have to take a look at what APC were doing in the federal government. You needed to look at that. You can't take that away. People were dying of hunger and they are still dying today. Well, in fact, it's better now. But then, fuel was over 1,000, 1,002 sometimes. The dollar had gone to 1,007, 1,008. It's gone down to 1.6 now. Rice has gone to 120,000 naira a bag. It's gone down to around 80, 70 now. How do you then reward such a political party in your state for bringing a gentleman? So that was not the point. We needed to make a point. And for some of us, for me personally, I cannot be seen to enable evil for ethnic consideration. So when that economic consideration came, I had to choose between economic consideration and ethnic consideration, and the choice was easy. Economic consideration. That's exactly what I did.
Okay. Let's talk about the current governor of Edo State, Senator Perulu. What can you say? He has been governor for less than a year, about 6 months. What
About
can you
8
say
months.
about his performance or his vision for the state? Do you think he can take Edo to a better place? I was in Edo State about a week ago or so, and the state of our roads, especially, is not something to write home about. I do not put all the blames on him because it's just 6 months in the office. Yes,
True.
most of those blames, I think Obaseki should own them. But
for now, yes.
yes, for now, I thank you for that, because I looked at Water Resource Junction. I passed through Water Resource Junction. Terrible place. Even inside the GROs, the flooding. And even if you look back at from Oshomole's administration, the money that we've marked for flood control, Oshomole's administration, Obaseki's administration, I think nothing has been done because we still have, even to the government house. Yes, when you go through the 4 brigades, yeah.
You go through the side of the 4 brigade to the government house.
Oh, flooded.
It's flooded.
When it rains, it's always flooded. So this current governor, do you think, this is to you now, do you think he can? You said he's a good man, no doubt about that. A lot of people, even outside the doors, have said he's a fantastic man, a good man. But does that translate to good leadership? Do we think that he can help to move those states forward? Do you think he can do that?
Frankly, I think that is his biggest strength is also his biggest weakness. Yeah, his biggest strength is that he's a complete gentleman. He's a fine gentleman, very reserved. He doesn't need to talk too much. And I sometimes fear cannot assert as much as he could, especially with people around him. What I think he needs to do, I have refrained from speaking, deeply about this government because, like I said in one of my social media posts, I believe that this government is still in its honeymoon phase. Yes, they are still doing honeymoon. For me, honeymoon ends after your 2nd year in office. But as from your 1st year in office, we can begin to assess where you are going to. Like my late mother would say, is from a puppy that a dog that will have a twisted tail. So after the 1st year, we know if your tail is going to be twisted. We begin to see clear signs that this government is on a journey to nowhere, as we saw in Obaseki's era, no matter how anybody chooses to debate that. So I think that the biggest weakness he has is the kind and quality of people he had surrounded himself with. And it's not because there are no intelligent people in his government. No, it's because the intelligent people in his government have been relegated to the background. And I'm trying to measure my words, and the not so intelligent or not so those who really don't have much to contribute to leadership and governance, those who are only happy to be in government, are the ones who have now taken the pride of place. He has shown clear intentions to do the right thing. I think the trying to decongest Benin City by building flyovers makes a lot of sense. I think he has fixed, there's a particular road that was sitting, upper mission extension up to Aduwawa, that he has tried to fix. I think desilting gutter and doing a few other things is right. I think declaring war on courtism is the right thing to do.
We strongly support that.
Yeah, we strongly support that. That's not because we do not have friends and family members who are cultists. They are all there. There's no Benin family where you don't have it, or Edo family you don't have it. But our own is that you can belong to whatever you chose to belong to. But the wanton destruction of lives and properties is what we condemn in total. You cannot take another man's life. You can choose to be anything. If you like, go and say you want to become a Arigidi. No problem. But don't take lives. Practice whatever you want to practice and practice it on your own. Nobody bothers you. There's freedom of association. It's guaranteed by our laws. But once you take a life, that becomes a different thing. So I think his stance on courtism are highly commendable, even when the police abused it. The monthly environmental sanitation, I think is a good thing, but I think the restriction of movement is misplaced. There is no law that permits you to restrict the movement of another person. You live abroad. In the city you live in, have you ever wanted to do environmental sanitation and they say you cannot go to work with your wife and your children? That's not going to happen. So we know these realities, and that's what we are bringing to, because the kind of thinking we are seeing, I am seeing around this government, is a bit archaic, is a bit out of place, is a bit 1990 something. It's militaristic in style. So he needs to surround himself with individuals who truly want to solve problems, not those who want to be part of government for the sake of, not hype men. A governor does not need hype man. Your work will show That's not to say that those hype men who helped you during the election, you must not empower them. I'll be the first to protest against you. Those men who have helped you, put them in offices, get them to work, pay them salary, let them chop. They've worked, let them chop. But when they follow you everywhere, it does not tell well about the image of the state. So I will stop it here so that I do not move from commentary to criticism. But I believe that
you're talking about getting people to work, getting men to work, getting Edo indigenous to work for the government. This is about 6 months after inauguration. We still do not have full cabinets. Constitutionally, all the local governments should have a member, at least a member in the state ESCO, at least one in the state ESCO. But today we do not have. I do not know the number of commissioners we have now, but I'm sure all the local governments are not represented yet.
True.
And some commentators have said it is because of the gladiators that brought him into power. That the party, the APC, you are not a member of the APC for now.
I'm not.
Yes, what we hear from Grapevine is that there are too many interests in getting commissioners from different local governments or getting special advisors, as the case may be. But is that not a problem for Edo State now? That at this point we do not have lieutenants, we do not have people manning these ministries to persecute the policies of the governor. Is that not a problem for us?
It is a problem, and again, it goes to validate my earlier point that the governor has not surrounded himself with the kind and quality of advisors that can help him manage government. He can't do it alone. That's the truth. No one man can manage 15, 16 billion a month alone. Think about it for a moment. That's your allocation for 1 month. 15, 16 billion a month. You can't manage it alone. There are people that will see that money and run mad. There are people that will see that money and begin to snort cocaine. There are people that will see that money and lose their sense of being. And the way our democracy is structured, he has the final say. So it's more like his personal estate. It's not his fault. That's the way our democracy is structured. Now, we do not have complete commissioners. And it did start well. It started with an SSG, appointed a few commissioners here and there, and started. Up till this time, we are not able to fill the vacancies. I think people also must remember that Obaseki did not have commissioners for 6 months. He didn't have even one. The government was run by 3 people for most parts of his administration. But on this one, I think, again, surround yourself with quality people that can give you quality advice and suggestions, and people that can do the right thing. The governor has the final say. I don't think any godfather or anybody or gladiator, as the case may be, will decide who a commissioner will be. You can only nominate. So the governor has the final say. If I were governor, and I always say this, like I said for insecurity, I say I cannot be governor and S-men will kill my people in my state. It's not going to happen. It just cannot happen. There are several things you can do as governor that even if it happens, it will never happen again. Just like the Israelis will say, never again. That is why the Israelis are so aggressive. People don't know why. You think, oh, they are just aggressive for being aggressive. But if they kill 6 million of your people in a gas chamber, you become aggressive like that. So it's the same thing. Party elders give me nominations. Inside that nomination, pick one. That's all. Those who cannot get commissioner get special assistant. Those who cannot get special assistant get senior special assistant. It don't finish. On my phone, how much is a commissioner salary, by the way? A commissioner earns less than 500,000. So why should that slow down the pace of governance? We make governance too attractive because there's a policeman, there's a jeep attached to the commissioner. Everybody wants to be commissioner. Whereas in the real sense of it, a woman, if you are selling serious tomatoes in Uselu market, you probably do more than 500,000 in a month. So what is the hype for? So these are some of the things that I have noted in his government, but I believe he will start fixing them because the storm is coming. The honeymoon will soon be over. And when it is over, some of us will speak and will speak strongly.
Okay. Lastly, let's talk about the wave of the movement coalition. 2027. What are your thoughts? Is that a good? I think I need to clarify first. Do you want to still support Peter Obi when it comes to 2027, or you are still assessing the terrain?
At this time, I would I don't want to make a conclusive statement, but Peter Obi remains the only the only the only the only brightness in the sphere, the only thing in the horizon. There's nothing else. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his politics for me is wrong, and his policies, even when the policy seems to have started taking root, but the politics that is backing the policy is wrong. Politics of annihilation for a complete democrat like him is something that some of us can never support. We do not want to become Russia, where you can do election 100 times, only one man can win the election, or only one political party can win. We don't want to become China, that only CCP can win election in China. Everybody is a member of Chinese Communist Party, just like everybody is a member of Vladimir Putin's party in Russia. We don't want that. Nigeria is a constitutional democracy, and it needs mentioning that the primary purpose of government is security and welfare of the people. The primary purpose of government, security and welfare of the people. And if government has started failing in that duty, it then means that that government have lost legitimacy. I'll read from you. I was reading this book and I thought it's going to add to our conversation before we had this conversation. John Locke. John Locke is a philosopher, and John Locke is the model of today's democracy, the American style democracy that we have in Nigeria. And he said, if the sovereign, whose purpose is to protect our lives, liberty, and property, does not protect those goods, then he has breached the compact that set him up in the first place, in which case we cease to have any obligation to obey him. In other words, subjects retain a right of rebellion against their ruler when they enter such a political society. And guess what the first paragraph of the Nigerian law says? The primary purpose of government is the security and welfare of citizens. So if Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not able to provide security and welfare, it is the civic duty of every Nigeria to rebel against that government. Some can use guns, those who want to use guns. We don't preach it, I don't do it, but those who can should. Some can use their mouths, like I am doing. Some can condemn in their heart, like the Islamic injunction rightly suggested. When you see evil, if you cannot correct it with your hand, correct it with your mouth. If you cannot correct it with your mouth, correct it in your heart. So that is why Asiwaju is not an option. Then who else? Atiku Abubakar, the man who has perpetually, whose action or inaction has destroyed his political party. People blame Wiki for it, but I blame Atiku Abubakar. You cannot lose election, run away. Another man come, build the party. You come and use ethnocentric chauvinism to get the party mechanism to vote for you. And now you've lost. You can't even rebuild the party. You are looking for coalition. I cannot coalesce with those kind of things. So on the premise of that, depends on where Peter Obi goes. If Peter Obi remains a sole independent candidate with a mind of his own, he has my vote any day, anytime. But if for any reason he becomes a deputy to somebody in the coalition, you know that will not work.
Thank you very much, Comrade Idris Zekeri. Thank you for your time. It has been an engaging conversation with you. I really appreciate you for creating time to be part of this show. Thank you, brother. I've been speaking to Idris Zekeri. He's a political analyst and the general manager at Zatco Nigeria Limited. He has shared his Uniben story and discussed about politics both within Edo State and Nigeria at large. Continue to subscribe to our channel. We'll bring you more exclusive interviews with Uniben alumni. Bye for now.
1970, we sure we did the forefront. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law.